Okay, hello and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be analysing the Divine Beasts in Breath of the Wild, or more specifically, where in Hyrule did they come from? We all know that they were dug up by the Hylians in an effort of preparing for the Calamity Ganon, but we don't know where those dig sites were, and that's exactly what we're going to be finding out in today's video. So, real quick before we get into the video, I've decided to launch some new channel merch to match the new branding style of the channel, but also because my old set wasn't exactly that interesting. You can find it integrated with YouTube below on all my videos, or on the official store site, which also has a link in the description. I'm having a launch discount, so if you use the code BotWLaunch, no spaces, all caps, you can get 20% off all purchases within the next, I don't know, let's say week. Anyway though, let's get into the actual video. So firstly, we know that the Divine Beasts were buried near their respective locations, as in King Roam's cutscene, Varna is seen being uncovered in what is clearly the rock type found in the Gerudo area. I'm going to look through each Divine Beast one at a time and try and find where they came from. Just because this is the order I filmed it in, I'll be starting with Varna. When looking at Rito Village, one thing which you'll quite easily notice is the man-made nature of the rock it's built around, suggesting the beast could have been buried here before the area was hollowed out. However, there are many arguments to deny this idea. For starters, Rito Village is based there and I don't think they would have made it right after uncovering Varna. It looks a bit older than that. Furthermore, we can tell that the rock isn't just man-made, but actually Sheikah-made. It's designed in a way which acts as both a perch for Varna, also part of a shrine quest related to a light facing through a hole within the rock. So if it's Sheikah made, it's clearly going to be very old, meaning the bird couldn't have been buried there. So if Rito Village isn't the right location, where else could Meadow have been buried? Well, one might consider the Great Tanagar Canyon, which does indeed include 2 shrines and several guardians. However, this location is called a canyon, not a mine or a quarry, so it seems more of a natural location to me. Further backing up this idea is the presence of the Tabantha Bridge, which looks very old, and I don't think they just built it after they mined out an entire canyon, suffice to say, so yeah. There's one last location to look at where Meadow might have been potentially buried. That is the Great Hebra Peak itself, one of the largest mountains in the entire game, bear in mind. It seemingly has a large chunk missing from it. Size-wise, this chunk could easily have held Varna within it. It does also not appear to be natural at all, as the inside of a mountain where the chunk was removed is entirely ice. Kid you not, you cannot climb or walk up it, you just slip. You don't see that anywhere else in the game really, at all. There's also a shrine buried here as well, right within the centre, so I don't find it too drastic a conclusion to see that the Sheikah could have placed the Divine Beast and shrine here both, and then cast the top of the mountain in ice to hide it, until later the royal family digs it up. Snow would quickly cover the top as well, making it just seem like a normal mountain peak again. There don't appear to be any other large potential areas in the nearby vicinity, so I think it's safe to say it's probably been buried in the Hebra Peak, and they dug up said peak recently to find it. Right, now let's next look to Dhaniya. Dhaniya is a quick one to look through, as well, to be perfectly honest, it is next to impossible to even determine where it came from. Due to the nature of Death Mountain, he could have been literally buried anywhere. Half of the mountain is covered in lava, hiding potential quarry sites, and the overall geography is jagged, leaving many areas open to potential past dig sites without even looking like they were. We know the volcano wasn't active prior to Breath of the Wild due to 2 cutscenes with Daruk in them, so it could easily be in an inaccessible location now due to the lava. Okay, so limiting it to the volcano may have been a little close-minded of me. Let's look throughout the surrounding areas for potential quarry locations as well. The only area that really stands out to me is Orodak Quarry? Ordak Quarry? Honestly, I don't know how to say it. The location is previously a dig site due to the nature of its name, Quarry. It's placed right by the Spring of Power and contains several Guardian Skywatchers. The Gorons were known to be the most powerful of the Zelda races, so placing their Divine Beast near the Spring of Power could potentially make sense. However, there are holes in that idea as well. Firstly, one would presume that the quarry was dug up many years ago, before the Divine Beasts, in order to gain access to it by the royal family for the purification ritual that Zelda goes through. Secondly, even if not, burying such an important piece of technology right next to an important spring which could easily be dug up, I don't think they'd do that. It could easily be found when they don't want it to be too. So, it could have been Ordak Quarry, but it could have easily just been somewhere random on the volcano, honestly. I think it's easier to just leave this to you to decide what you personally think, rather than saying that I've come to a definitive answer, because honestly, I can't. Next, I moved on to look at Varna. This is probably the opposite of Dhaniya, in the sense that rather than too many potential locations, there's a distinct lack of locations. The very first place I looked at was the pool in which Ruta sits in herself, whilst aiming her laser. I'm going to put this out of the picture right away because I just don't think Ruta could fit in it, let alone be dug out of it whilst leaving the hole at still such a small size. The next place I potentially considered was East Reservoir Lake. We know the lake is really deep due to both the colour on the map, but also I tried dropping a metal weapon in it and I tracked it with magnesis and it goes real far down, honestly, but it could fit there, yes, but I don't think it would have been shoved in there because, well, the Zoran would have probably just seen it whilst swimming in there, and given 10,000 years, I think they would swim in there at some point. Secondly, though, I'm pretty sure the reservoir was built more recently, not 10,000 years ago. Don't quote me on that one, because I can't find where I heard that, but I did hear it somewhere. Aside from those two options, though, I cannot find anywhere within Lanayru where the beast could have been hidden, unless they filled in the dig site with earth again. However, I do have an idea. Traditionally in Zelda games, the Zora are often heavily tied to Lake Hylia. Although they don't live there, the water temple is often there at the base of the lake, and that's often a source of water from Zora's domain. So perhaps the beast could have been buried in Lake Hylia, and then moved up to the new Zora's domain higher up when they found it. We do see signs of potential quarrying here, with the central island having a big hole with a shrine at the bottom. And also, the lake is pretty shallow if you look, and honestly, the lake used to be deeper than that, and it did have a water temple at the bottom. Maybe they filled it in and shoved all the Divine Beast and Water Temple down there, but it wouldn't explain why it's still shallow, so I don't know about that one really, but it could potentially be the lake, it could potentially have not been. Honestly, it's the same result with the Zora one. I would just put it down to your personal opinion of where you think it might have been. I mean, it could have been buried in the sea for all we know. Despite that, though, the last of the 4 giant mechs, Varna is a lot easier to work out. During King Roam's cutscene early on in the game, before you leave the plateau, there's a brief shot in it which shows Varna being uncovered. The location this takes place in is clearly Gerudo Canyon, along one of the walls, as the locations look almost identical. Along this area, there's only one possible place it could have been, a large quarry right next to the Gerudo Canyon stable. This quarry is the only area large enough that it could have been contained in along that side. And while the way the quarry's made certainly seems like it could have worked, it goes up in different levels to allow people to stand on them, so I could clearly imagine them in my head, going up these different levels, digging out around the Divine Beast to uncover it fully. The area also contains a shrine off to the side, which was also dug up, so it could make sense that they buried a shrine and a Divine Beast next to each other. It would allow the royal family to uncover both at the same time, thus emphasising the shrines to the royal family, as well as the Divine Beasts, because obviously the shrines are just as important to their great plan for the hero to defeat the calamity, I don't know, whatever. However, the only real hole I can find with this is that there's a big large pillar in the middle, and like, it might have made things awkward in terms of burying the Divine Beast, but honestly, it could have just been positioned weirdly with its legs and it'd fit there fine, so I think it could have easily been there, could have easily not been there. But I do think this is the most likely out of the 4 ideas I've come up with. When working on this part for Naboris, I forgot about the cutscene and I looked into other potential areas too. It took me like 10 minutes just to record gameplay footage for it, so I'll quickly flash up the other areas I potentially considered, just in case you're interested. Right though, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, consider giving the video a like and subscribing, it really helps the channel. Also, what are your thoughts on this? Where do you think they were buried? Do you think Varna was in the peak? Or do you think Ruta was in the lake? Let me know down below where you think what was buried where, because I'd be really interested in hearing. Regardless though, as I said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.